lights were superb, just superb.
1.5 seconds ahead, and you touched on it there, a record 30 cars entered for this weekend's racing. That says something about the quality of what we've been witnessing throughout this season so far. That battle between the top two will continue this weekend. Don't worry about that. Talking to Nathan Hearn just a short time ago, and he said his race pace, that's where he's traditionally been faster. Forget about the qualifying, that won't be everything.
You've got to say, well done to Glenn Seaton, to everybody at Harris Racing. That what they were able to achieve under lights in that car last night was immense.
Yeah, 1.5 second lead. That's a 1.5 second gap to the bloke in second, Owen Kelly, which is a very, very good driver. It's a huge margin.
So Owen Kelly had a gearbox problem last time out at Mount Panorama. That was costly in championship terms for him. He's in the Fujitsu entry on the right-hand side. That red car, they're all bunched up. It's a rolling start in the National Trans Am Championship. Watch for Nathan Hearn in the Dodge, number 29, the Valvoline entry. Good job by Kyle Gurton. Nice start by him on the outside as they run to one. Owen Kelly, I think's got it. He's hustled it into one, and he may have the race lead. He does. Good job.
Owen Kelly, this is our resurfaced part of the track, so plenty of grip, but it is Owen Kelly. A few guys maybe overshooting their marker there with this new surface, and there's a bit of madness in the mid-pack as this big field of 30 cars try to sort their way through that second turn.
Riding with Eden Thornborough there from Sydney. They had some dramas yesterday with some electrics in that car, and they've had to start from the rear of the grid. So watch that youngster. He'll hustle through the field here today. And speaking of another youngster, Nash Morris is in the top 5 at the moment. They had oil pressure issues with that car leading into qualifying. Nice work by the team, and smarts, real smarts from Nash, who shut it down the moment he saw an issue pop up on the dash.
That's pretty smart from Nashy. Nash is probably going to be one of the better drivers, come later in his life. He's got such a good coach in Paul Morris, being his dad, and Morris is one of the better driver coaches in Australia at the minute.
And Rusty, you speak of Eden Thornborough there a moment ago. He'll be 18 in July. Now, spoke to the team earlier. They've already ordered 2 sets of stickers for either side of the car because they know he's going to have the elbows out. Third in the championship. So watch for him. Already worked his way up to 18th place.
But that's this type of category, isn't it? Like, you can really put your elbows out, rub doors with them, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg like most other categories.
It was an alternator problem for him yesterday. You just saw the way that Nathan Hearn's car was dancing around. This is solid stuff from Owen Kelly, but here comes Aaron Seaton, shows the nose on the run into turn 1.
Poor Owen Kelly's going to have his wits about him, try and defend him for the next 10 laps, because obviously going off qualifying results, Aaron Seaton's got a very fast car.
And remember, the non-championship event that we had at Baskerville after the Simmons Plains round, there was a little bit of tension between those two guys, a bit of contact between Owen and Aaron Seaton, but Aaron, such is the way that he goes about it. He's just letting his driving do the talking at the moment. We know he's got a fast race car, some backing from Turtle Wax this weekend as well. They've come on board to assist his campaign, and he's been testing for Matt Stone Racing at Winton in recent time in the lead up to the next Super 2 round where he's racing as well.
And obviously Owen using all his experience at the moment, making himself as wide as possible. He knows with the pace that Seaton's got, he's got to keep him behind for as long as possible. You mentioned Aaron Seaton, of course, Super 2 with Matt Stone Racing, a crew member, lives and breathes it, doesn't he? Third generation racer. Of course, his grandfather, Bo Seaton, a Bathurst champion. His father, Glenn Seaton, a touring car champion as well, Dave.
So Aaron's going to have a couple of opportunities coming up soon, obviously into the last corner. If he can sneak up the inside there, or set him up, try and drag past him down the straight, who's run a bit wide there, or get a really good run through turn 1 and plunging into turn 2. That's his prime opportunities.
I love the old school nature of this. I think there was a tweet or social post from Paul Morris recently that said, "I choose to change gears." And these guys do that. HPAT, old school, more than 500 horsepower, really cost effective, as I said before. Cool stuff.
These cars look amazing, don't they? With the cross-ply tyre on them, they really roll around and skid around, and like in a normal sort of racing car, in a traditional tyre, or radial tyre they call it, if you get a bit sideways, you lose too much time. But in these, it actually doesn't matter that much. It kind of helps you. So it looks amazing, and it really feels cool to drive one of these cars. I drove one in Buriram in Thailand. It was one of the updated ones, so it had paddle shift and a few other bits and pieces. But as a driver, it gave me bugger all feedback to the brakes. It was really hard to drive. The car was had heaps of attitude, and as a normal racing driver, you just don't know what's going on. So it just takes a while to get the hang of it.
But you know what? That's not a bad thing.
No, it's perfect.
It's perfect. The racing, and we're getting that at the moment, which is awesome. So Owen, who's in his 40s now and has spent some time living in America and around NASCAR and people like Dale Jr., good battles with Aaron Seaton and Kyle Gurton. Can't speak highly enough of this young bloke. Morris Finance entry ahead of Nathan Hearn.
We just saw the provincial championship points in the lower left of your screen. So 6 points the difference would be eked out to. 2 points coming into this race, Seaton over Hearn. So this is an important race for Nathan Hearn on double duties this weekend, of course, in the S5000s.
I think he makes the move up the inside of Kyle Gurton here, and that'll help him on the run down the straight, won't it? It's beautiful.
Yeah, like I said before, that's one of your prime opportunities to sneak up down the inside, down the last corner, and sort of defend him down the front straight, but he's going to do it pretty easily this time.
Just on that double duty too, Stubbsy, as Aaron Seaton again lets Owen know that he's there. There's Glenn Seaton, two-time Australian touring car champion, legend of our game.
Maybe it always looks like Aaron's trying to have a go, but maybe his turning point's a little bit different, or he's just trying to like break the toe a little bit to get some aero into the car so he can navigate turn one a bit easier. Because if you sat behind Owen through turn one, he'd have too much understeer. So he's probably trying to turn in early to get some air.
Dave, in terms of co-driving for Aaron Seaton, the question that he may be able to snare that seat at Matt Stone Racing, the transfer across from this series, the National Trans Am Series, into co-driving in supercars is probably one of the better transitions that you could do in this country?
Yeah, it could be. Like, obviously the tyre's very different, but he's more used to the car moving around all the time. So the transition into the supercar, when they move around, they're quite fast. But as a driver, you don't want it to move around too much because it doesn't look after the tyre and chews the tyre out. So, you know, that's I suppose a step no one's really had to take, have they? They've never gone from, you know, Trans Am into supercar. So it's going to be interesting to see his feedback.
Well, combined with his Super 2 efforts, it means that he's got plenty of seat time, and it's all relevant. Every little minute helps, doesn't it, when you come towards Bathurst for the first time?
Up into the final turn, 73 is Owen Kelly in the Fujitsu entry. They will unleash the V8 power, go all the way up into fourth gear and hit about 245, 250 k's an hour on the run into turn one.
That's a good number, 250.
Good number.
Anything over 250 is a good number. You'd be satisfied with. Fourth gear on the limiter.
I've gone quiet. I just love the sound.
Oh, love it,
the
yeah.
sound.
Always dance on the wheel, big movements on the wheel. Like, it looks like it's a challenge to drive. You know, as a driver, you want to be solving problems out there to make the racing. You don't want everyone to have the same sort of equipment and the same sort of tactics. You want to be solving problems.
Got a ways to go in this one yet. 7 laps remaining, but if Kelly can do this, given the gearbox problem at Bathurst, nice positive for this team. Marcus Ambrose is again, as we've told you in recent coverage, working there as the crew chief on that car.
The new TV star.
He did a very good job.
Great job, didn't he?
Very good job.
And this car for Owen Kelly, after Bathurst, third in race 1, third in race 2, and the DNF in race 3, he will be absolutely determined. He was devastated with that.
He was, and he's been. I mean, they're quite busy, the Kelly family, with their transport business, which operates on both sides of the Tasman. You know, proud Tasmanian family, obviously. But when he can, he is in at Gary Rogers Motorsport prepping his car. This is kind of a customer car thing. He did it for Simmons Plains. Wasn't sure if he was going to do the rest of the championship, but they've had so much fun as a small group of mates. They've continued on with it.
Well, Owen's such a mechanically minded person.
Very.
He can do anything on the car, so yeah, it's good fun.
Can I offer you a tidbit, a self-indulgent tidbit?
Please.
What's that mean?
His father, Chaz Kelly, his first truck in his transporting empire was my father's truck.
I love that story.
Sold in his first truck, and I don't know what went wrong with my father's business, but I certainly don't have the cash to be racing cars around the Tasman region.
So you're just a family of salesmen, is that what you're telling us?
Yes, we'll go with that.
Sydney Siders, just down the road when it used to be in existence, will remember the old Liverpool Speedway, and Chaz would come up and compete and race at places like Liverpool in Speedway, and that 73 that Owen runs is a bit of a tip of the hat to Dad and the number Dad used to race with. Chaz is here today. Chaz Kelly is Dad. He was due to fly in last night.
Owen's doing a good job out in front. Like, it's not really, you know, the gaps between all the cars ain't really doing there's not a big gap between all the cars, so he's actually holding station, doing good lap times, looking after the car.
Nice to catch up with Ben Grice and see what he's doing in the 03 entry. Son of the legendary Alan Grice. Right now, Ben is in position 7. He's behind Brett Holdsworth, so good battle going on here. And he's a guy that over time has done the hard yards from Excel Racing. Last time he was here was about 4 or 5 years ago in a Toyota 86, and he's very hands-on in the prep of this Dodge.
And also on Grice's car is Les Small, which is a big character in motorsport, which, you know, I grew up racing James Small. He was my teammate in Formula 4. And then he became my engineer in supercars. Now he runs a NASCAR team for Truex. So, you know, a lot of experience there.
He's a good story, and it's one that we will continue. Just seeing some of the action that we've been watching, track limits in that part of the circuit. Kelly leads the way from Aaron Seaton. A break and back with more.
Watching these cars, don't you, Rusty? Like, they're just so exciting. Oh, they've got heaps of attitude. After watching that VNR from Bathurst, I was like, oh, how good's this? Oh,
Here we go. So some damage, and we'd seen. I think it wasn't. That was on the replay. Yeah, just before the commercial break there. But these two have amassed a lead over. Now we can see that that's good. So Nathan Hearn, that shot's actually quite telling. That Hearn has been able to start to close the gap on these two, slowly but surely chipping away in the Dodge.
Possibly Owen Kelly might be just holding Aaron Seaton up a little bit, but it doesn't look like it. Like Aaron's not menacing him or, you know, really rubbing his bump or anything. He's quite content to sit behind him. You just assume after qualifying that, you know, Aaron will be out there smoking everyone, but it's not the case when you watch the race.
You see now Eden Thornborough, who we mentioned earlier, has worked his way up to 13th place, up 15 positions so far in this race. An outstanding job from him. Fourth in the series is Tim Brook, who's in 11th place. So Brook was chasing Thornborough for that third position in the series, and at the moment Thornborough's doing a great defensive job.
Just as we watch Tim Shaw there in the 66, he's just dropped outside the top 10 as he battles with Tim Brook there. Now, Tim, I thought, would be hustling up around the top 5, a guy that has competed in the Toyota 86 Series, been successful there, and was feeling pretty confident about this car this morning after a lot of work following the Bathurst event for those guys. Prepped out of Wall Racing, that car, and they've got Paul Forgy, who's worked as an engineer with Marcus Ambrose over time, assisting that car, but it's clearly got some sort of issue. He's dropped back another spot there.
They've got a lot of expertise there, don't they?
Now, is Owen Kelly dropping down the timing here? What's happened?
Hopefully it's not a
He's dropping quick too. He's down to 8th position, 9th.
Oh, no, it's not time there.
Timing glitch.
Timing,
that's okay.
Don't go have a heart attack yet, Rusty. Don't have a heart attack yet, buddy.
Normal transmission resuming. Owen Kelly, this is leading 8 laps down.
This is like a category where there's only 4 gears. Actually, you actually use every single gear out there, don't you? Like they actually go back to first, to turn 2 and turn 8. And most other categories in the world, you really don't have that because you've got a 6-speed gearbox. You kind of just use first just to get off the line, then you use second as your minimum gear.
To your point, turn 2 is around 80 k's an hour, and you can either first or second. Guys have been doing trying a few different options there, given the new level of grip available.
Well, that's also gives the driver, puts the onus back on the driver, and gives them choice because some corners you could be second or you could be first, and it depends on how you set your car up and how you like to drive is how you get the most out of it. So it sort of gives you options, and like I said, it gives you problems to solve out there.
Looking forward to seeing Trans Am joining us at Morgan Park in our next round of the Shannon's Motorsport Australia Championship as well.
Just want to build on what you were saying before, Stubbsy, about Eden Thornborough. Behind him, Zach Lechalpo in car 21. So Zach is in 14th place. Because there's a number of guys here that are, got normal jobs and working, he had to work on Friday, didn't do practice 1 and 2, went straight into qualifying. That's actually a pretty good performance right now to be 14th.
That's amazing. It's not...
So lap 9 of 12 in the Trans Am's opening race of 3 for the weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park. It is Owen Kelly, a familiar name, a man with American experience in NASCAR, with supercars experience as well, who leads the way with a nice little gap at the moment, almost eked out to 1 second over Aaron Seaton, our championship leader. Nathan Hearn back in 3rd position at the moment.
And Owen's doing a fantastic job out in front, isn't he?
Very.
Won the start, managed the gap at the start. He had a lot of pressure from Aaron early, but now he seems to have driven away and doing a fantastic job.
And, we've talked a bit about the time he spent in NASCAR. I mean, there were moments where Marcus was on double duty off, contesting a cup race somewhere. Owen would go and qualify for him in the second tier car, if you like, do a great job, and then Marcus would roar in on the plane and off they go. They've got a great relationship, those guys. Here we go, Nash Morris. I'm glad we've just spent a bit of moment putting this youngster in the spotlight. Currently 5th position. He's only done a handful of rounds in this car. They were all hands on deck there yesterday in the motorsport sales Mustang, trying to sort an issue, I think, with an oil pump or an oil cooler or something, and checking that they had pressure before they went into qualifying. As we said before, super job to acknowledge there was something wrong with the car and save that engine. As we've got some dramas here. McAllister Motors entry, and that's on the run toward turn 8, isn't it, off the back of Corporate Hill.
What's going on there?
Chris Pappas as well, relatively new to Trans Am, has been going all right. So we've got our father and son collection here this weekend.
That's Ian, I think.
Dad Ian,
yeah.
correct. Yep.
So was
He's spun by himself.
and has Ian gone off?
Sympathy spin,
Maybe,
they call that.
Yeah. Nothing.
Unless there's some oil down or something, but generally that's a...
Looked like the next couple of cars came through okay. Did you keep an eye on that? So.
Sometimes as a driver, you always just gauge what's going on in the car in front. So if he brakes late, you're broken late. If he's missed the corner, guess what? You've missed the corner
too. A little bit of a gap here. Stubbsy starting to appear now. So is Aaron, because we've got more races to come in Trans Am, just erring on the safer side, play the long game here in terms of the championship as well.
Dave, he was pretty close there for a long time behind Owen. As Rusty just touched on, perhaps a little strategy play there with the car being starting to heat up. Perhaps is that an issue that they would have here?
Or maybe he's thinking, second's a better starting spot for the next race and he'll win the next race.
Watching Christopher Formosa at the front of this group, one of 4 cars being run by that operation by Kim Jane, who's down there in the pit lane. Always good to catch up with him. The guy's got a lot of experience in motorsport in different classes.
Yeah, obviously the Jane family's been around for such a long time. Bob, Rodney, Kim, they've been involved in motorsport forever. So they're very fun people to talk to, especially Kim. He's always happy, always good bloke. But back on the Nash Morris story, very impressed with Nash how he's gone, because he kind of got to motor racing late in his life, didn't he? He sort of didn't drive for a large portion of his life, and all of a sudden he started doing XL, and I think he really enjoyed it. Now he's driving a much faster car, so he's kind of, the experience he has is quite limited, and to do, he's in the top 5 at the minute. He's doing a phenomenal job.
But to build on the story that you've talked about there, instead of that kind of karting background,
exactly.
he is immersed at Norwell Motorplex, working physically on the cars, driving regularly, and,
yes.
and even though it's a slightly later start, he's gravitated to it, hasn't he? He's away.
Yeah, he has, and he's such a happy kid, isn't he? I love hanging out with Nashy and talking to him. He's so funny. He's got such a good take on life, and I'm glad he's doing it.
And third in Super 3 as well, so getting plenty of kilometres under the belt, as Rusty just referred to.
Behind him is Brett Holdsworth, and we should make the point too, that is one of the Holdsworth family. We see Lee contesting TCR. This is Brett, his brother.
Yep, the older brother, isn't it?
Yep, and they've been around. You had quite a funny discussion with Lee on your podcast, I think, didn't you, about this?
Yeah, I know. So they were going to ring his old man, and his old man's really colourful, apparently. So.
Did you have a ratings issue?
Yeah, I was going to say,
not on our show. We don't care about that stuff. We're pretty raw.
That's good.
But Owen's checked out, hasn't he? He's over 1.5 seconds in front, so he's checked out.
Nice performance, this will please Marcus Ambrose and the team checkered flag there. We thought it was 1 to go. That is the final lap, and he's done it. Owen Kelly by 1.5 seconds over Aaron Seaton and Nathan Hearn. This one continues. This is great for Ben Grice on the run to the line, looking like picking up 7th place. Holdsworth there clinches 6th. Good job by Ben Grice.
Owen Kelly, race one at Phillip Island, so his 2nd race for the year that he's been victorious in. He's been on the podium at least once at every round, so that consistency there for Owen has been fantastic. Just a couple of issues along the way mechanically that have put paid to a real championship challenge.
Oh, nice.
Just making sure the sponsors get a bit of airtime there and a bit of credibility from the fans.
Check out
Beautiful
the sponsor on the
slide
side.
onto the Brabham Straight for the last time in the Trans Am race 1 of the weekend.
Just in terms of box ticking, like super start by Owen there, really good. Fastest lap of the race, 1:33.78, and takes a win by 1.5 seconds. We've got lots of racing still to come in Trans Am. We do need to sort of keep that. But that's
for Owen. He obviously deserved to win the race. Got the fastest lap, led the start, led the whole race. Dealt with the pressure from Aaron Seaton quite well, and drove away to a 1.5 second race win.
And like I said, fortune favours the brave, doesn't it? Because he
Especially
went around the
around
outside at the start there too. So confirmation of the results. A win, second one of the season for Owen Kelly. Aaron Seaton, our championship leader, in second place. Nathan Hurd in third place. So Seaton and Hearn continuing their run of being on the podium in every race this season. Kyle Girton, great finish there. Nash Morris rounding out the top 5 from Holdsworth. Benny Grice, Dylan Thomas, Tim Shaw and Hugh McAllister.
A couple of other stories that we'll unpack or unearth. Like, well done to Matty McKeldin, we should say there too, in 13th for Kubota Racing. That was a 20 grand rebuild for that car after the big crash at turn 2 at Bathurst. That's a little bit of positivity for them. Christopher Formosa, who we saw before for Allgate Motorsport, finishing 15th, but ahead of Ethan Thornborough, who had been, I think, slightly higher in the order, but had come from the rear of the grid.
Correct, so perhaps spent a bit of juice getting himself up, but puts himself in a good position for the rest of the weekend to continue that fight forward. So the championship lead, it was 2 points coming in by Aaron Seaton, but it is now out to 4 points, the difference between Aaron Seaton and Nathan Hurn. Eden Thornborough still remains in third place with some at 99 points back. It is a battle in 2, this one.
Time for some highlights for you. Race 1 of the National Trans Am Series from Sydney Motorsport Park. Aaron Seaton had pole by a margin of 1.5 seconds, but Owen Kelly pounced at the rolling start. Bit of activity, there was plenty going on, certainly down at turn 2. But the Fujitsu Racing entry, that lock brake was really about the only blemish on the copybook, wasn't it?
That could have been the real chance for Aaron Seaton, our championship leader, to take the lead of this race. It wasn't to be in the background. Nathan Hurn was working his way forward. That one on Kyle Girton, 2 young guns. There are plenty of them in this Trans Am field. This was 10K getting a little bit wild, returning to the series. That's his first race back since Adelaide last year. And this was a unforced error around the back of the track here that took out 2.
As Pappas went off, so too did Ian McAllister. Hand out the window, NASCAR style. Owen Kelly in the 73 wins race 1 from Aaron Seaton.